Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the session, Observations from Edge Management. I'd like to introduce you Karen Jeannette, Steve Hadcock, and John Porter. Please welcome them.
Good morning, everyone. And
the imagination. So she chose this picture invasive species management crew had, and she asked, should master gardeners help with this? What do you think? Well, if you know master gardeners in the program, they their role is to educate the public, not to do labor work. And so it drove 58 comments. We had some coordinators across the country chime in. We had master gardeners chime in. But they didn't just answer that question. They started to provide information about invasive species. They had fabulous discussions. And so since we've seen her take over in October, we have gone up 1,500 likes from like 3,000 to actually maybe 2,000 likes. Connie? Oh, so we're at 5,500 right now, which is way faster than when I was managing it. So anyway, so just to think about this, we need to drive the imagination through social media and include the context. Think about the context in which people are thinking about these things. So this is my son in 3rd grade. He's in 5th grade now, and he invited his friends over to do a project. They did this on their own. They had to do a group project at school. They came home and they researched stuff on the web. They went out and found all sorts of examples, and then they recombined it and wrote it on paper together. And then actually this is them playing Minecraft afterwards, but I just thought it was such a powerful example of they expect to work together, to collaborate, to participate. So that's one thing one of our observations here. The other is when we look for different photos, the first thing I do is go to search.creativecommons, because these are photos I can use with attribution. So if you have all rights reserved, that's not going to show up. So we need to start thinking about how are people going to find us? How are they going to use it? Can they use our materials in a slide presentation? If it says all rights reserved, they're probably not going to bother to ask us and wait 3 days to get a response. So thinking about how we license things is something we're noticing is important. This is a great example. This handbook comes from Sweden, and there's all sorts of examples of how academics and researchers are using gaming, social media, and how to get participation. So I would recommend taking a look. It's a pretty long handbook, and there's a ton of examples, but we're seeing that leap in research and development, and there's all sorts of ways to find out how to use it. And then co-creation and the role in government services. So the quote from above, there's a report that talks about, it's the IBM Center, and there's a report about talking about citizens' role in public government services. And the quote I pulled was, they're seeing that we're redefining citizens' role in public services and seeing a shift from that of a passive service beneficiary to that of an active informed partner or co-creator in public services, innovation and problem solving. And so one of the things that stuck out to me was they talked about 4 different roles, which is really helpful for me when I think about, okay, who can we pull into our communities and what would they do with us? So there's people, explorers, ideators, designers, and influencers. And so that's something to think about, I think, when we're looking to involve people from our communities in our networks. So that link is available there as well. So I think
So the pace at which technology is changing and so on has sped up, and the accumulation of knowledge and information, as we've learned this week, is speeding up as well. I use the example of the overhead projector here. Is that how many years was the overhead projector the relevant and main tool of sharing information or imparting information to our clientele and extension? It was for quite a long period of time. But now we have a whole host of new tools, and it seems that the pace at which these tools come at us is speeding up and is changing quickly. So we need to remain nimble and light on our feet and change, and being willing to embrace change as well and move forward. So John, now how have you observed change? Now it's you.
Thank you. Yes, now it's my turn. Looking at some on the ground examples of what we've been doing, we're I'm from West Virginia, and I put together a team, and we're hosting a conference in 2 weeks. So I'm going a little crazy here. But we use social media to create buzz for this conference. It's the first time we're ever doing it. It's the Urban Agriculture Conference in West Virginia. We do have a city. I live in a city, Charleston. That's the capital. We're having this Urban Agriculture Conference, and I teamed up with the folks at the other land-grant institution, and traditionally we haven't had much overlap. So we're working together on this, and their team put together all of this material to help us create buzz. They came up with our official spokes chicken. Stew, chicken stew, okay? His name is Chicken Stew, and he tweets, or clucks, right? So he's sort of not anything official, but he's creating buzz for the conference. So he has many more followers on Twitter than the actual conference Twitter, and people love him on Facebook. And we do these little, so whenever registration opened, we had, the picture of Stu, and registration's now open, and we did the, follow Stu, so, at Stu Urban Ag WV, and he signed this letter packing up the coop and headed for the city. And so he's getting ready, and he's got all these plans to learn. We already have it all planned out and scheduled out, but he's going to go and find out what to wear to the conference in the city, because he's never worn fancy clothes and all that kind of stuff. So he's building engagement because people are actually retweeting and tweeting and talking to Stu on Twitter. But we've done a good job of, through some interesting graphics, also creating buzz. So they put together some headers for our websites and Facebooks and stuff like that. So we came up with the theme, It's So Cityfied. And so gardening, it's so cityfied, and we have our parking meter there with the flowers around it. We have our businessman with his pig. Farming is so cityfied. We have a lady carrying her purse with her goat in hand. So farming is so cityfied. And then we have our businessman with his bee hat on there, so beekeeping is so cityfied. Because what happened was, with some buzz while we're doing this, is last year we finally legalized urban agriculture in the city of Charleston. So you can have bees, you can have chickens. It's all a big buzz, and we're playing off of that. So in about 3 weeks, Stu has several followers. We've built the buzz. And we've driven up our registration. It started off as like a one-day workshop, and now we're a 2-day conference with almost 150 registrants right now. So it's been an effective campaign, and so it doesn't have to be heavy information. It can be fun stuff like we've learned. So these pictures are fun. It's like you don't expect to see a lady with her purse and, her goat in tow. She had a pig, and then we changed it. We gave the man the pig. I don't know what that means. But we have to know our target audience whenever we're doing this, because we are in West Virginia, and not everyone is connected. We're a very disconnected state because of our mountainous terrain. Not everyone has internet. So we have to know what audience we're trying to reach. So we did put together marketing materials, postcards, posters, things like that, save the dates to hand out for different events. But then I also wanted to make sure that we actually had a web page to go to, not just social media, because we do have people that choose not to participate in social media for different reasons. Now, the way that we built this was to make sure that there's overlap. And so we don't have to recreate everything every time we do it. So a lot of this stuff is interchangeable, and I just plug in and play where it is. But we've done this little campaign for the first time and collaborated together, really, for the first time. This is the first time I've ever actually collaborated with the extension people from the other institution in the state, and they're in my same county. So they've actually helped to build this with us, and so it's been great engagement. So now we want you to reflect and think about what tools or methods are you using to gauge and assess the needs of your clientele. And since we're engaging, we've got 12 seconds, so you need to tweet that. right? You need to tweet that. You can tweet it to our hashtag, or you can, well, there's network literacy, right, Karen? Oh, time's up, sorry. So Karen had a note about network literacy, and then we'll put up our handle so you can tweet with us if you want to today.
So I just wanted to mention, for those of you that are looking to talk about and discover more about social media, more about connecting with people through networks, we have a community of practice in e-extension, network literacy, and what was that? Yes, you're the poster child. John is the Google Hangouts guy right next to the network literacy. He got caught with the big screen. But if you go to extension.org/network, look at network_literacy, go there, look for the Ask an Expert button, and if you'd like to get involved with us, click the Ask an Expert button and say, I'd like to get involved with network literacy. We're right now trying to figure out where to build our community spot. We connect on Twitter with hashtag NetLit, and soon we'd like to kind of build a Google Plus community or a Facebook group or something. So tell us you'd like to be interested, because we're interested in having people become better learners and teachers through online networks.
So you can connect with us here at the conference on Twitter. And now I guess it's time for any questions, comments. Rotten Tomatoes? I don't know. Yes. We have engaged them a little bit, but they're not working. We're not working hand in hand with them. We're sort of, we did this rogue. Oh. Right. Yes. So we have those bumper stickers, and those are from, there's also the American Farmland Trust that has those as well. That's right.
Yeah, Sylvia was doing this for her own Facebook page in New Mexico, and so we saw what she was doing. We invited her to be part of the team, and first we asked her to do some Wordless Wednesday blog post, and then later we found out her passion was Facebook, and so we let her go, and it's been really great. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the blog and with the Facebook, we've been involved in. It's like we always struggled with that. And my part of that is sort of like a content creator where I, write these long-winded blog posts, and Karen's like, well, they read fast. That's right. But it's really been more engaging with the Facebook interaction than just posting up the blog links and things like that. Anything else? Are you still asleep? Yes.
Learning Network. Oh, sorry. With the Military Families Learning Network and the Department of Defense is we created a LinkedIn community for one of our communities of practice. It was actually childcare. And what got the people engaged was asking sort of a controversial question, starting some controversy, because then people wanted to talk about that. It created, in people sort of this need to comment, where if you just talk about the good stuff, they're like, oh yeah, whatever. But if you put out a question that makes people gets their back up or whatever, they're going to come back with, hey, wait a minute, and then that creates a conversation.
That's right. So I don't know if you've seen the little cartoon that says, there's someone yelling off in the background that says, honey, come to bed. It's like, no, I can't. There's something wrong on the internet. That's right.
Of social media etiquette a little bit. It's good to promote a conversation, but you also need to be mindful that there are real people on the other end, and that need to be respectful and be willing to have a discussion, but don't take it too far either. Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Let's give Steve.